and his uh, his stay was delayed for at least 3 weeks. I think it was more than 3 weeks. Nobody could start a vehicle. Yeah, it was more than a month that he was from the coast, Dr. Fowler, and he was doing the blood testing. And no vehicle would start. And he was there as a guest. Volunteer.
Yeah.
He volunteered.
No options.
But the whole thing was in that living by myself, and I was pretty well single-minded, you know. But at that time, all of a sudden, there came a lot of conviction over me about things.
Mm.
So when I come out of there, I was a pretty easy pick. I wasn't the self-reliant person anymore.
Right.
You know.
You learned.
It changed.
You were humbled.
It changed because the reason I was up there in the first place, I had finished taking my commercial pilot's ticket, and I was hired to fly the plane for the Choco Ranch. They had a Stinson Voyager there. And that was why I was up there, and when I got up there, it was a real bullshit story.
Mm.
So when John Wade, the owner, showed up on the scene, he was in one of those arrogant Americans. when he showed up there, you know, he said, "You're going to interview me," and my response was, "I want to see your logbook." "Well, we don't keep a logbook." I said, "Well, technically, I can't fly your plane."
Hmm.
So I did fly that plane in, I think twice into Williams Lake. But it was a pretty nip and tuck because you didn't know when that engine hadn't seen a CFA. There's nothing.
Is this a single engine plane?
Yeah.
How many seats in it? 2, 4?
It was a 3-seater.
3-seater.
Yeah.
Wow.
A pretty deluxe plane. Stinson Voyagers, you know, at that time was, yeah, and then like during the fall, we made me and a guy by the name of Jack Taggart trailed 2 herds of cattle into the Williams Lake stockyards for the auction sales there. And each trip was about 5 days, you know, trailing them into Williams Lake from where we started. Now, the lady that was the manager of that place was a professional prostitute. And she would go into Williams Lake with her sedan delivery and load it up for booze once a month. Then she would throw a party at the store and invite everybody to the party in the store. Now the living quarters was that end, this end was the store. And then it was a lot of trinket and stuff that they bartered with the natives. So, and watches and whatnot all. So she would go, come back and throw the party, and then of course her booze was bootleg price. So the only 2 guys that I know of that got a paycheck at the end of the month was a guy by the name of Jack Taggart and me. The rest always owed the store the wages. And her service was $100. And the last guy that was in bed with her could stay the night. And this one guy, he would get out Sunday morning and he would walk up there and if Hans sees his face, I'm gonna shoot them, you know. Then Hans would wave there and he'd spend the night with Joyce, as though that was some glorious event. Well, anyway, and then he'd want to hang himself and all that. He was squirrely. So we had a cook there. This is in the fall yet, before I was left for the winter. She had a wooden leg, and she'd unhook it. She'd been wounded in action during the war.
Mm.
Her Jeep blew up, and 3 of them were in the Jeep. She was the only one alive.
Mm.
She had a wooden leg, and this Ernie was his name. Fell like a hook, line, and sinker. Anyway, he did some very irrational things, and it got gradually worse, so that by the time I came back to the home ranch, when my cows, like when I ran out of hay, I brought them to the home ranch. Well, the Chilcotin River was just a short ways away where they were still feeding, and this guy all of a sudden jumps off of the rack, him and another guy were loading hay, and starts running I'm going to drown myself. And this guy had to wrestle him down and bring him back and take him back to the ranch, and he was cuckoo. So anyway, through the whole event, they told us, I guess they told the management what to watch for and so on. They came and got him, and he went down to Essendale, and they found he had a tumor in his brain.
Mm.
So that when it filled up, he was irrational. So they just drained everything and fixed him up, and he came back, he was normal, as normal could be. Anyway, in the meantime, I was assigned with another guy, this Jack Taggart. We were supposed to calve out this whole big, I think there were something like 300 heifers, something like that. We were calving it out, and I applied to get my job back at Douglas Lake, and I kissed that outfit goodbye.
Wow.
Yeah, so I managed to make it to the road that went from a junction there. I forget the name of it. Lee's Corner. Mrs. Lee could speak every dialect